All right, traders, good afternoon. This is Christian from Hertz Trade Group, and this is your end of day recap for Thursday, April 7th. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes, only not giving out any advice or recommendations. So, we'll go through in this video a couple good things, a couple bad things too, because I think that we had a little bit of both. Obviously, just more opportunities today, a lot more movement, I think, which is good. A lot more trading opportunities. Yesterday was, I thought, a bit of a frustrating day. Every time the market kind of started and stopped, both to the downside, upside, it just stalled out, right? And we ended up basically finishing right where we started in the S&P yesterday, with the Qs a little bit more weaker. Today, we kind of had this horrible breath to start the day, and was basically that way until about 1 o'clock today. And then, there were some buying programs that came into the market. So SPY did finish, recovered, finished up about 0.5%, a little bit off the highs. Didn't manage to close on the highs, but still, I think altogether, okay. The Qs underperformed once again. They did finish on the green, though. That's positive. They finished up 20 basis points. And the IWM tried to come back, but still finished red on the day. Still some weakness in the small caps there. Bonds still an issue, moving down at this point, but off the lows. So again, a little bit positive there. Gold was up just a little bit for the session. Tried to kind of break higher, but hit some resistance. And the VIX, which I could actually change that. I have this this spreadsheet from my midday video, and there were some things that definitely changed. We could actually put this in light green as well. And a couple of so before we go to a couple of the standout areas, which I thought were really interesting today, let's talk about the S&P technicals. So, something that we highlighted yesterday, right, where we said, hey, we kind of came into this top of value, right? This is something that, again, that we went over in the weekend video, that we could see this at some point during the month. Again, was kind of shocked to see it happen that quickly, but we did visit that top, almost to the top of value. And today we actually, got back to yesterday's lows and held them quite nicely. So here's the 5-minute bar. Here's your check to basically right to yesterday's lows. So there is some support there at that level, and you could see, we made this nice move, just as I mentioned, just before 1 o'clock, that started a move. We kind of hesitated there at the top of value, back checked here a little bit, moved out to above value, back checked again, and out to highs, but a little bit of a weakness there at the end of the day. Not much though, not much to really complain about. We've also have some resistance, right? It's going to be a little bit different when we look at the S&P futures, because they trade more volume and continue almost continuously throughout the session. SPY, you're going to see, actually did hit that resistance right around 450, right? So we did battle with a little bit of resistance there in SPY. I think that's what held it up. Not to say, like, maybe in the overnight session, we can kind of climb back inside value. I think that would be a positive development. And, as I said in my kind of tweet at the end of the day, this, hopefully, if you're optimistic, could be the start of a bounce. Normally you do see some things like that. I would like to see the price get back above the 5-period moving average. We did get back above the 20-day moving average, and we held the 50-day moving average. We're also back above the 200. Just need to see that a little bit of a push higher, and we could kind of start to do these things. Still, I think this market is really kind of separating itself. Let me go to NASDAQ too, because I know a lot of people like to look at the NASDAQ. We'll actually look at the Qs here. This did save, we did actually go lower than where we were yesterday. So again, the Qs right now are acting weaker, both on the charts as well as just the price action in general. We did visit a little bit lower areas and kind of held there. One of the things that you could kind of see in both of these charts, the S&P and the NASDAQ, is somewhat of a possible, and what I've been referring to in the last couple trading sessions is an inverted head and shoulders, right? So here's your left shoulder, here's your head, and here's possibly your right shoulder, but we don't know that yet. It's the makings of this, right? So that's kind of what I see is partial right shoulder. Keep in mind, these patterns aren't perfect, right? You're not going to see, just as you hear people quote a lot of different patterns, they don't show up exactly. There are a lot of abstract, what I refer to as abstract patterns, all right? So let's go right to the kind of hot sector, which I thought has been pretty exciting. Right, we just haven't seen this type of strength in the healthcare stocks. Right, in the weekend video, I talked about how biotech might be bottoming. We didn't really see too much out of the XBI ETF, but where we are seeing the strength is the more value of the two, which is your healthcare and pharma stocks. So healthcare stocks, new high today, unbelievable move, up 2%. Again, that's a big move. And the other thing is if you are trading options, right? I know people love to kind of trade, the liquid, the tech, the growth names, but if you're looking to really make money, I would say well, again, everybody's of course looking to make money, but the options and things like XLV are super cheap. And if you don't believe me, look at the implied volatility, right? Something that you should always be paying attention to if you're trading options, right? So you could really get a lot of bang for your buck when things like this move much more than their average true range, their ATR. It gets even more dramatic when you look at the pharma stocks. I mean, just crazy move, up over 2%. These things just don't move like this. That's one of the biggest candles. I think that's today and yesterday are the biggest candles that you have on the screen, right? So again, the theme that I see is that investors are basically going into, they're going into places where they can kind of hide it, right? We know that the Fed is going to be raising interest rates, dialing down, tapering the balance sheet. So I think investors still want to be in stocks. We talked about utilities and not wanting to buy the utilities, up where they are. My opinion, I don't, but everybody's different. But I think, to see these moves in the pharma stocks and the medical devices finally wake up a little bit. This has been a group that was, if you zoom out, right, and we look at the weekly bar, you can either zoom out on the daily, but I think we should look at the weekly bar too. This has been a big growth engine, one of the best performing areas over the year. So if we get back over the 200-day moving average, and many stocks in the medical devices are doing that, notice the support that this thing found. Maybe we could be drifting back up to 65. But while I'm in this group, we highlighted this TMO last week. I actually put this in the TTG trend portfolio, which is geared towards a little bit longer term investing. But this is a really nice looking move today, up 4%. The slice right through that 1 hour value area and moved higher. Right, so nice move, almost at that first VPOC. Abbott woke up today too, right? ABT. So again, I love to see when it's some different groups that are coming into, and of course, what I love to do is find them before anybody else, right? So even though I haven't really gotten the move that I've been looking for, other than the 1 day. With biotech, we're still seeing a lot of, we are seeing some names really get going out of the biotech sector, right? And, I think I'm one of the only people who was talking about biotech over the weekend as possible, possibly making a bottom. It's still in the cards, but you just have to remember right now, this market is caring more about some of the lower volatility, lower, valuation names, right, which are going to come in your pharma and your healthcare names. So very, very interesting. A couple names just to highlight in this group. HCNP looks great. A name that I got long the other day, which held in there, had a horrific start to the day yesterday from where it was, but held in there. Tandem. I actually tried some DXCM today too. But I just decided that I didn't want to go too far into this group, but I like the check back to the 200-day moving average and DXEM. A couple groups that you may not be watching too much, but if you look at these names, like wait for the charts to adjust here. Let me see if I can get this going. But look at Amerisource Bergen. I mean, I know everybody's been talking about AbbVie, right, which has just been a tremendous mover this year, right? But ABC, McKesson has been very strong, and then we saw some calls today, and we kind of caught this one early today. Look at that candle today in Cardinal Health, right? So tweeted that one earlier, and what helps is to look at the peers, which we just did, because Cardinal Health, it belongs to that group of the Amerisource, the ABC, the McKesson, and just to kind of say, hey, this is this is a good candidate for this thing to push higher. So really nice move there. And I took a profit target at 59, but no, this is what helps to kind of just be in front of the screens, find that relative strength, and just find opportunities like this. Another name too, which we kind of caught when they reported earnings, which was just a monster move. Speaking of medical devices, is this LNTH, which I'm still long. Right, actually hit $60 today. So this thing again hasn't really pulled back much. Had that 1-2 days where it pulled back into 50, which ended up being a buying opportunity, but very strong into this group. All right, so the next group, and I think it's important to kind of go through names. Another name that was brought to my attention at the end of the day, could be one to watch for tomorrow, is Shockwave Medical. Right, I love that name, SWAV. Moving back to that virgin point of control, or moving back to, moving back up to here after finding some support in here. So very, very strong within this group. All right. And the other group that has, it's funny because we talked about this pre-market, right, is the what's going on in the grocery stores. So Walmart continues to break out. Not one of my favorite names. I just can't really get too excited about Walmart. Everybody has their personal preferences. Mine is just, I don't like Walmart. I don't like having to go into a Walmart, but but that's just me. That's fine. There's plenty of other names to trade. So a couple names that are have been interesting is this Kroger, which I know there's been a lot of eyes on. The problem with Kroger is it just doesn't move that much, right? You're looking, if this thing gets back to the highs, that's just a $2 move. So still, it is what it is. It's money. What we were talking about pre-market is why hasn't, with after Costco, having really good sales number and a big breakout in Costco today, the leader within the group. But we were talking about Target this morning, like why hasn't Target gotten going? And sure enough, like this was the play today within the group, up 5.6%. I didn't trade this one, but I think a few of the Tribeca Trade Group traders did. Again, we go over all these charts and names, and we were talking about the valuation in Target, and it's not that bad. That we thought maybe that might be the culprit of why this name hasn't been performing, but I think this thing could continue to go up to 235. I did actually take a position at the end of the day, but I missed it like in the beginning of the day. All right, a few other groups too. I mean, now it's kind of, got to go through a few different ones. LMT, we caught this one today, up 2.4%. I took a target or two in this one. And then, things like the coal names got going today. BTU, right? As we heard that Europe is going to be getting their coal from other places. Peabody went up. I actually I like the chart in this arch, right? And I think this has more to go if it can break through this little trend line that you've got going on here. Right. And I took a target for the day at the top of value, right, which was right at 141.40 is where I took my target. But I think this thing could push higher. All right, so I definitely left a position on from there. My other trades for the day, if you go across, like I think Newmont looks interesting. Right, so there again, notice that like, I'm not going too far into the tech space because I just think right now there's other opportunities. I do think it's funny they mentioned this on CNBC too. Even everybody seems to know this relationship right now. But if bonds start to rally a little bit, then you might see a move, back into some of the tech and growth. But I'll tell you, that group this year has been, trades that you rent, not trades that you can own for that long. Right, a lot of them and a lot of areas have reverted back down. One group I thought was interesting today as well is the transports and what they did today, right? So finally, they didn't go green, right? But we saw finally, some call buying in that group. UNP, which is my favorite in the rail space, finally saw some call buying today. That name did finish in the green. Keep in mind this name has earnings in a couple weeks, but I think a good opportunity after a multiple day decline like that, and back into support, maybe can see a move back into the bottom of value, which would be around 250. Okay. My trades for the day are right in here. We covered CAH, NVIDIA. Funny how this happens. As soon as I took it off, the name rebounds. But that's often why you like to wait till the end of the day to see how the candle looks. And it's right around the 200-day moving average. It looks like it closed a little bit below it, but hey, I don't mind. I can get right back into this one. All right. A few other names too. Zoetis saw some calls. This it did take out I believe it took out that virgin point of control. So basically right here, right? You want to see this thing get above 200, but also kind of has the makings of an inverted head and shoulders here. I view this as a quality name within the group. Saw multiple call buying through the day. Nice sizable call buying for the day. All right, and I think that's it. We covered the grocery stores, definitely covered the healthcare names. I think that there's more names in the medical devices to go through. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. What else? We'll be going through what's called our out of the box names. Right, you could see these are names that are basically trending. They're above the market web's value areas in 3 different sessions. So happy to give you a little bit of a glimpse. We have this list, and we go through this. I go through this list every night just to see what's going on. I sorted it by sector. You still have some energy, materials, industrials. Is there a tech on here that's trending above value? No, it doesn't. I don't see one. So no, we got healthcare, consumer staples in here. You got a little bit of consumer discretionary. Industrials, materials, but yeah, I can't believe it. We've got no tech. Tech is missing from the group. LHX also looks pretty good. Oxy had it. So again, a lot of things like this. Someone also brought to my attention Orly, which had a monster day today too, breaking out to new highs. Another one, OLN, which looks like it might be ripe for a break higher too. I'm actually long this one in the TTG trend portfolio, but really nice move in that Orly. And then in the energy space, Oxy is another interesting one too, which could be gearing up for a move higher. It has to separate itself a little bit, maybe a little bit early. 59.78 would be a move outside of value. All right, guys, that's it for today's video. I think that's enough tickers. Again, nice to see more participation, but just in some different areas of the market. So again, that's what we do at Tribeca Trade Group is we really kind of, be very unbiased and just, try to take what this market is giving us versus, what we always want it to be, right? We'll take the sectors, we'll take the areas of the market that are trending and showing relative strength. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.